What is going on? This is Cody, and you are tuned in to B-Boy 45, broadcasting from the Seacrest Studios at Children's Hospital, Colorado. And I am so very excited to bring another episode of Maya's Latest News to keep you in the groove. Maya, who's on the line with us today?
Michael Angarano.
Michael Angarano, woo!
Hey,
Welcome. How are you today?
I'm doing all right. Thank you for having me.
Well, we are so excited to have you and to get all the latest updates. So, Maya, take it away.
Okay, so first of all, I just want to say thank you so much for calling in. I can't tell you how excited I am to be talking to you. You've been like a dream interview of mine for years. So
Oh wow, that's really nice. I appreciate that so much. And just so you know, here's Pearl right here. Pearl, can you say hi? You want to say hi, Pearl? Pearl is joining us as well.
Hi,
Out of
Pearl.
frame. But no, thank you so much for having me. It really means so much. I'm so happy I could be here.
So my first question for you is, how did you discover your love of acting?
How did I discover my love of acting? That's a great question because it is pretty significant for me. I started acting when I was really young, and it was very coincidental. Like it wasn't something I set out to do or my parents, set me out to do. It was something that I just found myself doing. And what happened was my mother used to own dance studios in New York. She used to own three dance studios, one in Brooklyn and two in Staten Island, where I was born. And so basically one day I was 5 years old and I didn't want to stay home with the babysitter. And so my mother brought me to a photo shoot that she had for her costumes for the dance studio. And there was a little rhinestone tuxedo that the photographer suggested that he take pictures of me in. And those pictures he sent to Ford Modeling Agency, which was, it's this really famous modeling agency. And so I basically started modeling as a 5-year-old boy in New York. And at that point, I think I just really enjoyed probably the attention of being on camera and probably, getting pulled out of school to go on these, I called them go-sees. They were like modeling auditions in New York. And so I basically started modeling and then started doing commercials. I, got a commercial agent. And from that point on, I just started working as a young actor in New York. And I have to say, it was just something from the second I started doing it, I always loved it. And I never felt, any pressure to do it. I never felt like obligated to do it. I always just really, really enjoyed it. I love movies. I love being a part of movies. I love TV. I love being a part of TV. And it just, that's something that, I was fortunate and privileged enough to discover at a very young age, was something that I loved. And I'm, it's something that I always check in on as I get older, because it gets harder as you get older. It's hard being an actor, an adult actor, especially, when you're a kid, you have a lot less responsibility. So it's like, I didn't even think of it as a job, but now acting as a job, it's significantly harder. So, but it still, resonates with me as something that I've loved my whole life.
Oh, cool. So of all the roles you've played, which one has had the biggest impact on you personally and professionally?
Wow. That's a good question. That's a hard question because I've played so many parts in my throughout my life that were significant to me as a person as well as an actor. Like, and I always have felt really lucky that because I grew up acting, because I started at such a young age, I often find that some of the roles I play, very often the roles that I play mirror the experiences that I'm going through in my life, because that's just sometimes how it's happened for me. But I have to say, like, when I was younger, there were a couple of significant parts that I think just opened up doors for me professionally. Like a movie I did called Almost Famous was, I was a very small part of it, and it was such a massive experience in my life. I worked on it for several months, and it was my first, real experience with working really closely with the director, Cameron Crowe. He had a very specific idea of how that character should behave and talk. So that was kind of my first experience not playing myself. Up until that point, I was just a commercial actor. So I just did my little commercial acting. And Almost Famous was, I believe, my first real experience playing a character. And obviously that movie, retrospectively, is just so amazing to be a part of. I would say that Almost Famous was significant. Will and Grace was a really significant part of my life for a long time, because I was on that show from 13 years old to 17 years old. So that was very formative for me. And working with that amazing cast and crew was really great. So I would say there's more than one, which I feel really lucky for.
Yeah. Yeah. So my next question is actually about Will and Grace. So you played Elliot in the series, which Will and Grace is just one of my all-time favorite shows. I watch it all the time.
Oh, nice.
And so I was wondering, what was your favorite part about working on this show?
My favorite part was, for me personally, it was working with Sean Hayes and Megan Mullally and Eric and Deborah, like getting to work with that cast so up close. Because I think they're all geniuses. I think they're all comedic geniuses. And working so closely with Sean Hayes, I felt like was working with one of the best performers I've ever seen in real life, in person. Just how professional they were, how I saw firsthand how they would develop their the bits on the show that they had to do that particular week, but how they would just find the humor and comedy in things that weren't necessarily there, how much of themselves they brought into the parts, and also how much they created those roles based on rehearsals and the writers and the hard work that they put into it. It was really just amazing to watch the creative process so up close and firsthand. And then I came onto that show in its third season, I think. So it was already really popular. And that was a pretty phenomenal experience for me. I was 13 years old and I was so incredibly nervous. And they were so warm and welcoming to me that for me, for being 13 years old and being as nervous as I was, I felt like I was taken such good care of, and that was really special.
Oh, cool. So what was it like to come back as Elliot years later for the reboot?
It was really interesting because I was the one who changed the most. I think everybody else looked pretty much the same, and
Yeah.
to come back as a 30-year-old young man was really fun for me. I walked past Jimmy Burrows, who's the director who directed all of the episodes of the show that I was on as a teenager, and when I walked past him coming back for the reboot, he literally didn't recognize me. and so it was just really fun, and I was so grateful that they brought me back. Number one, just creatively, I was so honored to be a part of the people they wanted to bring back, and again, it was just a really warm feeling to be, because it was a lot of the same crew as well. So it was just really fun. It was a really fun experience, and again, working with Sean Hayes, the majority of the time I was just really trying not to laugh. And that proved harder than ever.
Yeah, there are many scenes of the both the reboot and the original where I'm just always like, how did they get through that scene with a straight face?
With a lot of rehearsal, I think. A lot of practice. You have to see it so many times for it to not be funny to you, or to just be able to hang on for dear life. He's an amazing performer. They all are. So that's, but also if you do laugh, you ruin it. So you don't want to ruin it for him,
Yeah. Yeah. So you were in the movie Sky High, which I loved. What was your favorite part about playing someone with superpowers?
And first, that experience of making Sky High was one of the most fun experiences on any movie or television show that I've ever had. It was just so fun. It was because it was a lot of teenagers. So we were all doing schoolwork on the side in our schoolroom. So we're sharing in that. Like, so often I was the only kid on set, like on Will and Grace, I was the only kid who had to go off and do schoolwork for 3 hours every day. And it was such a bummer. And so to be able to go off with other kids and do schoolwork and then go on set, that was just it felt like high school in a weird way. Not exactly, but like just a different version of high school. And then, I felt so awkward and goofy I loved doing all of the stunts, and I wanted to do as much as possible, but there were some times that acting like a superhero did not come totally natural to me. Because I don't know, like you have to look very heroic sometimes, and that actually is harder to do than one thing. So I found it to be really fun, because Sky High was so, I think that's the charm of the movie, is that it's a superhero movie, but it's also kind of goofy and self-aware and really, and doesn't take itself too seriously. So that's, I think, my experience doing stunts and trying to act heroic kind of lent itself to the character of what he's going through,
Yeah. Oh, cool. So you've been in so many things, and to name just a few, Almost Famous and Ceremony, and which I love both of those movies.
Thank you. That's so nice.
Yeah, and so I was wondering what draws you to a project.
Well, like I said a little earlier, what always draws me and what has drawn me, a film like Ceremony is a really good example of something that came around at a time in my life. I was 20 or 21 years old when I first read that script, and I was transitioning, at least in my eyes, I was transitioning from being a child actor to an adult actor. Or that's what I was projecting. That's what I wanted. That's what I wanted people to see. And in Ceremony, that script and that character, is very much about a young boy, still a young, immature guy, realizing that he still has a lot of growing up to do. And that there was just so much I could relate to in that sense. Having been on sets my whole life, being treated as a child, and then now being an adult actor, but still being very young in that. It's always a plus when something that you read can reflect your own experiences that you're going through in real life. Separate of that, which is also such a luxury and obviously not always the case. You just want I'm just attracted to really good writing and really good people and experiences. The longer you act, the more you realize that you just want to work with good people, and you want the experiences to be positive, and you want to work with talented people, and you want to make movies that people see, and you want to make things that mean something to you and mean something to other people. So writing, a director, other actors, it all kind of comes into play.
Yeah. Oh, cool. So you play the younger version of Nikki in This Is Us.
Mm-hmm.
What is your favorite part about working on such a cultural phenomenon?
Well, for me, I feel like This Is Us is one of those shows that is really special because so many people relate to it in so many different ways, and it's really unique in that. And I feel like when I came on board to play that part, more people knew about that character than I did initially. And so to a certain degree, you're having to live up to people's expectations of that part or that character. And I have to say that cast, Milo Ventimiglia, that crew, from Dan Fogelman, the director, the creator, to the directors, to the actual, to the people, to the crew who works on that show from, on a daily basis. It's an incredibly special group. And similar to my experience on Will and Grace, I just felt so taken care of. And it's when you feel comfortable and when you feel safe, I think you are relaxed and you're able to be better because of it. And so that set is just very conducive to good work. And it's because everybody's not only talented and not only so grateful for the impact this show has had, but because they're kind and understanding, and it's just a really special energy, I think. And so I always love when I get to work on that show, because first of all, I love Nikki as well. I love that character. So it's really, it's, while it's intense and demanding in moments, it's also being able to work with that group is such an honor.
Yeah. Oh, cool. So do you have any upcoming projects that you can tell us about?
Yeah, sure. So I'm going to be in a television show called Minx that will be on HBO Max. And that comes out March 17th, I believe. And that stars Jake Johnson, Ophelia Lovey-Bond. And that's going to be a really fun show that takes place in the 70s and is all about magazine publication and it's feminism in the 70s and censorship, and that's going to be really fun. I'm really excited about that. And then I did another show called Angeline that will be on Peacock sometime this year, and that's about the Billboard icon Angeline from the 80s and 90s in California. And Emmy Rossum plays her, and that is another thing I'm really excited about. And I also wrote and am going to direct and act in a movie called Sacramento that I'm really excited about, that hopefully we get to make this year.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
I'm so excited to see those.
Oh yeah, no, me too.
So what show had the biggest influence on you growing up?
Ooh, shows that I watched?
Yeah.
Wow. I mean, I grew up watching a lot of old TV as well. So, I have to say a show like Seinfeld was on in my house every day. Friends. Also, I Love Lucy, The Honeymooners, Happy Days was a show I watched a lot growing up. Because I used to watch TV Land. Anybody who knows what TV Land is. A show, The Wonder Years was a show that I loved.
Oh,
I loved The Wonder Years. And what else? Curb Your Enthusiasm is something I loved. As you can see, there's so many influences, but I used to joke that not a day goes by in my family's house where we don't reference Seinfeld. It's constantly being referenced.
Yeah, I recently started watching Seinfeld.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, and I love that show, and so I constantly quote it too. And but I think the biggest show that I just quote all the time is Will and Grace. And so,
is it really? That's one of your favorites?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So with someone who hasn't seen the show, they're always just looking at me like, what are you talking about?
Right.
So, but yeah, I think that's the biggest one that I quote like daily. So.
Oh man, it's so quotable. There's so many from that show.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah. So I just have a few more questions for you, if that's okay.
Yeah, great.
So what show are you currently obsessed with?
Ooh, what show are we currently obsessed with? So, um, we actually just had a baby, which is very exciting.
Oh,
His name is Leon. Thank you. He's 10 months old. He's actually right over there. But so we don't have a lot of time. So we have to be very decisive, and we have to binge as much as if he's napping, we have to watch as much as possible. So we did just watch the new show, the new Sex and the City show, and Just Like That, which was fun. We're also watching Euphoria, which is intense, really intense and fun. I'm saying fun a lot. I wouldn't say it's fun. It's very intense.
Yeah. But I think I know what you mean by fun.
Yeah. Something that draws you in, that you can really you really want to watch the next one.
Yeah.
And let's see, what else am I watching? I have to write everything down because we try and watch when we can. But those are the two shows that we're watching currently, and also the Olympics. I get obsessed with the Olympics whenever they're on. So I always try and have the Olympics on in the background. What about you? What are you watching right now?
Right now I'm watching the show Love, Victor.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
Yeah, that one is really good. That is also one that sucks you in. Like, my mom and I stayed up way too late last night just watching it, because we were like, okay, now we have to watch the next one, and then we'll go to bed, and then we're like, but now we have to watch the next one.
Right. That's the best.
Yeah. Yeah. So, we are watching that right now, and I'm trying to think what else we've watched. Now I'm forgetting everything.
I know. Me too. I so many. Every time anybody asks, it's like, oh yeah, what am I watching?
Yeah. Yeah. But Love, Simon is one of my favorite movies. So
I gotta watch that. Oh, it's one of your favorite movies too.
Yeah, and so I was so excited when Love, Victor came out.
I bet. That's really cool.
Yeah. So what are your top 3 songs on your playlist right now?
Oh, I wish I had my phone on me. I could look. Okay. Again, because we have a new baby, it's probably baby influenced. We like playing a lot of classical music for him because that is supposed to help with development. And so I would say every morning we're playing Mozart for babies. So that's definitely up there because it's on repeat. But the songs that I'm listening to right now, this was also something we were playing a lot, from Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. In a world of pure imagination. That song we were listening to constantly. That's definitely up there right now. And I'm trying to think of like something cool or new, and there's probably nothing. And yeah, that's all I can think of right now. What about you?
The main song I have had on repeat right now it's a song called Pasta by a band called New Rules.
Oh, cool.
I'm obsessed with, and I love that song so much. So
I'm going to listen to it.
Yeah, it's so good. And I love the message in it, like what inspired the song. And so it has like a really great, it just has a great message in it. And so, yeah, and I'm trying to think what else I have on
It's hard when I know it's hard to think of on the spot.
Yeah, I do have a lot of, I do have Tyler Posey on repeat a lot.
Okay.
So, and he was actually in the show Teen Wolf, which I binged
cool.
Last year or over the summer. And so that is one of my favorite shows ever.
No kidding, really?
So, yeah, so along with Will and Grace.
Right.
And so, yeah, so I binge watched that like for the whole summer.
Wow. How many seasons of Teen Wolf are there?
6.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
And is it 10 episodes or 20 or?
Yeah, there's a little over 20 in every season. So.
Oh, wow. That's a lot. That's a lot of, sometimes I get nervous to start a new show, especially if it's already been filmed, because it's just such a time commitment.
Yeah.
But if you love it, then that's the best. Like this happened to me with Game of Thrones. I found it was hard to finally watch all of it, but once I did, I was so invested in it.
I right when the pandemic started and lockdown happened, I finally I just randomly decided to rewatch all of The Flash, and
fun.
Yeah, and then I have always wanted to watch Arrow, but there were so many seasons that so finally when we weren't doing since we weren't doing anything, I was like, I'm gonna watch it. So I watched all of Arrow.
That's great.
So
isn't Arrow that's another one. Danielle Panabaker from Sky High's on The Flash.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah, actually, right when the Flash first premiered, I went back because I didn't realize Danielle Panabaker was in Sky High.
Oh, wow.
Well, I mean, when we first saw it, I didn't realize that. So then when we saw The Flash, I was like, oh, wait, she was in Sky High. And I went back and rewatched that. So.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
That's cool. She's directed a few episodes of that now.
Yeah. Yeah, which I think, that's really cool.
Yeah, that is cool.
Yeah. And I'm so excited for it to come back. So,
I bet.
Yeah. So my last question for you is, who do you consider to be a real life superhero and why?
Good question. Again, all very good questions. A real life superhero. Well, I have to say my partner and fiance, Maya Erskine, because right now she's watching her mother our little baby boy is very superhero like, and I just I couldn't imagine going through what she's gone through, and and I get to watch her do it every day, so that would be it.
Oh, cool. Yeah. Well, thank you so much for calling in. I really don't want to hang up because I'm just having so much fun talking.
I know. No, me too. I mean, honestly, it's been so fun. Thank you so much. And I really, I've love doing this, and thank you. I appreciate you having me on, and thanks so much for all your questions. They're so great. I could also sit here for another half hour and do it. It's so fun.
I I'm so starstruck by you. So I'm sure by the time we hang up,
Just keep breathing, Maya. It's okay.
It's gonna start to sink in. See, I can't even find my words. So
listen, if you have if you want to do it again, and you have one more whatever, just let me know, and we could do it again anytime. I would love to.
Oh, me too.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for spending so much time with us here at Children's Hospital Colorado and the Seacrest Studios. And you have a great day.
Thank you so much.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye, guys. Bye. Nice meeting you.
You too.
Bye.